Good day, everyone. Richard Cowperthwait for Northwest Access TV. Thanks for joining us. We're talking a lot of Highgate issues today with the Highgate Town Administrator, Sharon Bosquet. Sharon, good to see you.
Good morning.
I know you have a lot going on in your town these days.
We do. We have a lot of things going on.
Well, it sounds like it. I should know. We're taping this show on Tuesday, May 21st. We're getting some summer weather here. Looks
Yeah,
like
it's
summer's
beautiful
kind of
out.
rolled in. And anyway, boy, I almost don't know where to start. I guess probably with village core issues. Again, you got a couple of votes that you were, excuse me, hoping to get at the March town meeting on the wastewater facility in Cathedral Square. So, how are village core issues faring these days?
They are doing very well.
Yeah,
We had 2 positive votes on town meeting day.
yeah,
The first one was to sell 1 plus or minus acres of land to Cathedral Square, which is for a 30-unit mixed income senior housing,
yeah.
55 years old and up.
And I'm sure people are already signing up for that, right?
We
They're
are,
getting names on the list anyway.
the
or-
last time I knew, we are half full.
Oh, really?
It's
Wow.
been an amazing thing to watch. When we had originally done our charrettes or our public outreach,
Yeah,
people continued to say that one of the things that Highgate needed was senior housing,
yeah,
that there was nothing in town, that as people aged out of their homes or their ability to take care of their homes, they didn't have any place to go except out of town.
yeah.
And of those places, they could wait up to 5 years
Oh.
for an opening at a facility that they could get into. So we really looked at that, and our architect, our master plan designer, had brought several different plans to the village core committee to see how it might fit into our plan, and they did a fabulous job of showing us the potential for the village core.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a key, a really good aspect for that.
Yes, Cathedral Square, we were extremely fortunate to pair with Cindy Reed from Cathedral Square, who
And we've
is,
talked to Cindy before with you, yeah.
she is an awesome individual, does a wonderful job. She's a go-getter. They have already raised over $6.5 million toward our project.
Really?
Yeah, so we haven't even broken ground yet. They don't
Wow.
even own the property yet, but they already have a third of their funding in place.
Wow. So they don't own the property yet. Will that happen later this year, or are they waiting to see how other things?
So the purchase is contingent on, that site was a Brownsfield site.
Okay.
So that means that there were some potential hazardous material on the property.
Yeah.
We've done 2 studies so far, a phase 1 and phase 2, to look at the environmental hazards. In between the time that we've done that work and now, the state has changed their assessment of what percentage leads per million were acceptable.
Oh.
So they have dropped it quite a bit.
So it's less stringent than it used to be?
No, it's more.
Sorry, of course,
Yes.
more stringent.
Yeah, so more stringent. So
Gotcha.
we've had to go back, and on the 22nd and 23rd, so this week,
No.
they'll be back in there doing some digging to make sure we know exactly how far we have to go down in the soils to meet
Just,
this new state regulations. We're hoping that since it's only 1 or 2 minor spots
Yeah.
on the whole property, that we can do some minor mitigation. We may have to remove the soil down 6 or 8 inches, but once that's done, we should be golden.
Will that be Highgate? So is that going to be Highgate money doing that, or is there any outside money you can use for that?
We have been lucky to pair with Northwest Regional Planning,
Huh.
and they have the funds available for us to do all of the study. They've paid for all of our testing and what have you there. We have what they call CAP money, or corrective action plan money, that's set aside for our project. So we've been very happy to have found that funding.
Best case scenario for breaking ground on, I realize there's some more steps here, but what sounds like best case scenario to get construction for the senior project going?
We're hoping next spring.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So not way down the road.
No, we're hoping to get them moving right off. They're excited to do it. They think they can have their funding in place. So we're hopeful to be able to keep up with their progress.
And about a year's worth of construction, or we were talking about a year or so to actually,
I think she told me, I believe she said 13 months
yeah.
is their normal
All right.
construction period.
I guess St. Albans City is now looking to try to do a Cathedral Square project as well.
Yes, they just sold the land to
Yeah.
Cathedral Square to do it down on Lower Newton.
Yeah, not too far from where I live. So, and again, so people are already putting their names on a list. And again,
Yes.
it can't, of course, you can't just restrict it to Highgate residents, but presumably there'll be X number of Highgate residents in there.
Yes, correct. That is one of the things that we had a small amount of opposition with.
Yeah, that
because
got mentioned at town meeting.
yes, they preferred to have it all Highgate, but
Yeah.
these are federal funds.
Right,
And to be fair, that has to be an open list.
yeah,
Basically, first come, first serve. So if I have Highgate residents that are interested, they need to contact Cathedral Square as
Yeah.
soon as possible.
yeah,
Even though the building isn't built yet, and it
Mhm.
may be 2 or 3 years before they're ready to proceed
Yeah.
with residents.
yeah,
If you're on the list, if you don't need it, you can, you don't have to take the place. You can
yeah,
say you found other options or
right.
don't need it at this point.
So people, if they have any possible interest, they should absolutely get their name on that list.
Absolutely.
So again, it tends to be first come, first served. There are
Yes.
income guidelines and things like that.
There are income guidelines, yes, depending on, there'll be a number of apartments that are at little less than market rate.
Yeah.
There'll be some that are income-based, some that are for lower income bases. So there will be a mix of people that are available to move into there.
And 30 units?
30 units.
Mostly one bedroom?
Yeah, 26 one bedrooms and 4 two bedrooms.
4 twos. Interesting. No, it sounds like a very good project for you folks. And how's the wastewater issue? How's that moving along?
So the wastewater is our part of the bargain with Cathedral Square, and that's to get wastewater and water to that property.
Yeah,
The town did agree to, they voted to go to construction at town meeting
yeah,
with the project to give the state and all of our funders the okay to go to construction and to know that the town supports that opinion,
yeah,
so that we do have local support for this project.
yeah,
The right now, our disposal field is going through additional testing to meet Act 250 requirements. So that is an ongoing process. We hope to have that finished in the first 2 weeks of June.
Huh.
Then we'll have our final design. Once that's in place, then we'll go on to our permitting stages. We'll have to do some additional archaeology because our project requires that we provide the tanks and pump for an individual's home that wants to go onto the system, which is a huge bonus for those that are thinking about hooking up.
Yeah.
You will basically get a new tank and a new pump, and your responsibilities will be from the house to the tank. It's a great opportunity because a lot of those homes along the St. Armand Road
yeah,
are older. We don't know how well their current functioning systems are
Sure.
functioning, so we're hoping that this really helps out that population as well,
Yeah.
as well as bringing the ability to develop that village core property.
And you've got plenty of capacity for anybody who might want to hook into this?
We'll have a limited capacity, of course,
Okay.
for this first stage.
Yeah.
But yes, we should be able to, along our plans right now, which will include St. Armand, the village core property, down Lampkin Street over to the disposal field. All of those people will be able to hook on if they are interested.
Yeah. Are you going to need more voter approvals for that, or are you all set in terms of voter approvals that you need?
We are in a odd position because several grants that we have applied for require that you have a bond vote.
Huh.
So we're trying to figure out exactly our finances as to how much we're required to bond vote.
Huh.
We wanted to apply to the USDA for rural development funds. If we do that, we would have to bond for the full $5 million of construction, which makes me nervous because
Just people seeing that $5 million
yes,
figure and thinking
people
it's all on Highgate.
are going to be terrified and they're going to say, oh, no, we can't do that.
Right.
We don't want our taxes to go up.
And the
I
hope
get
is a
that.
pretty small amount of that would be Highgate's share.
Right. Our hope is, well,
I
our
guess
ideal
ideally-
hope would be to fully fund it
Right.
through grant funds, which we've gotten probably 8 different sources right now that we're
Yeah.
seeking money from.
Huh.
What happened to our original funding was our engineer, because we've had to do this additional testing for Act 250, it put us an extra year out from what we expected our
Oh, really?
construction date to be. So our estimates are more than what we had expected. So that has left us short on funding.
Huh.
So we do need additional funds. We are pursuing them, but some of these funds require that
Wow.
we have a bond vote, which,
So
like I
then
said,
That's going to have to happen. That will happen at some point.
we are thinking unless we can produce $5 million, then yes, we'll have to have some kind of a bond vote. And
Huh.
now it's going back and forth as to just exactly what we want to ask the taxpayers for, because we understand we don't want our taxes to go up either.
Sure. And that would be, November or not that early? That would be obviously a big turnout election, obviously.
It would actually need to be before
No,
September.
really, before
Yeah.
November, whatever. Of course, the primary, you might hook it on the Vermont primary election, I think is August 13, I think.
It's possible, yes.
So it needs to be before November anyway.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's disheartening because
Wow. Is that new news, or did you know that was happening?
no, that is new news.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
that is new news.
So before that, you thought you were okay, not
we
needing?
thought we were good.
Wow.
The problem
Wow.
is that there are ARPA funds available from a redistribution, but nobody can tell you how much is available.
Oh, really?
And
Is
there
this
are
another batch of ARPA funds, or?
yes,
Really? American Rescue Plan Act funds?
correct. And there is Clean Water State Revolving Fund that's subsidized, but nobody can tell you exactly how much.
Really?
They're all waiting for you to be at a point where you can actually pull the trigger, and then they'll tell you how much they have for funds for you.
Wow.
So theoretically, we could already have the funds,
Yeah,
but we don't know that.
interesting.
And it's a very tricky catch-22 and very difficult to deal with, but we're trying to do it and trying to educate the public as best we can to say, please don't panic.
Yeah,
You know, what we voted on at town meeting, which was to go through with this project
yeah,
and not have the town pay more than $200,000.
yeah,
That's still on the table. That's what we want.
yeah.
If we ask you to bond for $5 million, it is only because the grant requires us to do that.
Yeah.
the town would not bond for $5 million in any way, shape, or form.
Sure,
We couldn't afford it, number one.
sure,
We don't want to have that type of debt.
right.
Um,
But boy, the big question, obviously, can you get that message across okay?
Yes, and, right now, we still don't have a school budget in our
Yeah.
district.
No, that's a good point. MVU budget's gone down, what, a couple times
Yeah,
so far?
twice, and it'll
Boy, that's a good,
revote
in
June
fact, the last
18th.
vote wasn't even too close.
No,
So June 18, the next one?
yeah.
Wow. No, that's a good, I wasn't even thinking of that. That's a good point. Wow.
Yeah, so we
Boy,
it's a bad situation to be in.
wow.
We have this fantastic project,
Yeah.
but we can't nail down the funding
Yeah.
to tell people this is exactly what we have.
Yeah. That's pretty new info that you.
That's all new information,
Really?
and it
Wow, that didn't exactly make your day, huh?
no,
That's,
because it makes us questionable
Yeah.
at town meeting. Well,
And
you told
obviously, if
us.
that goes down, I mean, Cathedral Square is gone. I mean, the whole thing's gone, presumably.
Well, yes. I mean, we'd have to attempt to do another revote, but
Yeah,
or find additional funds somewhere else.
yeah,
So it's my job to find the money
yeah.
somewhere. We will have to beg, borrow, or
Yeah. Your legislators, they're hopefully giving you some help with this, or are you getting some help from your senators and state reps?
I think everybody, because this.
Sure, they're well aware of the situation, I assume.
Yeah, and the ARPA funds, these American Rescue Plan funds, all have to be spent by a certain time.
Right.
And so it's a different, the target is moving all the time.
Yeah.
The state's trying to spend every dime that they were given, which, great, that's fabulous. But in doing that, different organizations are doing it differently. They are, instead of waiting till December to make sure everything's allocated, some of the state organizations want all their funds allocated by the end of September,
Yeah.
which shortens the amount of time everybody else on the local level has to respond.
Yeah.
So it's
Right.
it is definitely a moving target.
Yeah. And meanwhile, you're after a new director of the Highgate Public Library. You lost
We
your
are.
director, huh?
Yes, yep. Our librarian wants to start a family, and so she wanted to be close to her home and her family, so she chose to get done. We do have applicants coming in every day, and
No, really.
we're hoping to make a decision next week.
No, really.
So hopefully,
You've had a number of applicants, some good
Yes.
applicants?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So we're hoping.
And of course, down the road, we've talked before about, ideally down the road, some folks, I think yourself, would love to see a new Highgate Library and Community Center.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
is that kind of back burner material at the moment, or not exactly?
We have an extremely strong group of trustees.
Yeah. Library trustees?
Yes. So the plan is still going forward. We have actually put in an application for a grant for capital projects with the state. Because our plans for a new library were so far advanced, so we have all the drawings and building plans and everything in
Oh.
place.
Yeah.
We have asked for $1.5 million in the grant, and if we were to get that, our library would be fully funded.
Oh, wow.
The caveat to that, of course, is that money is also timed. So you would have to have the project done by December 26.
I mean, as in construction finished by then?
Finished, yes.
Wow.
So if everything
Wow.
lines up, we're going to be an extremely busy village center.
Wow. And the site's nailed down for where the new library would be?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess obviously.
Yes. Yep, the site is nailed down. The inlet and egress are nailed down. So we are hopeful that if this comes through, we can immediately attack that project.
Is the library, is that hooked into the wastewater issue also, or could the library project move ahead irrelevant of the wastewater situation?
No, they will
That's
need
hooked into-
to access the water and
Okay.
wastewater
Okay.
projects, yes.
And you mentioned a water, and I think that's come up before. Where would you be getting the kind of municipal water for?
So we have a municipal well on the sports arena
Okay.
property. It has a 60 gallon a minute flow.
Huh,
It's 617 feet deep, so it has quite a lot of storage.
huh,
Should be more than adequate for
Yeah.
what we want to do on the Macy property for development.
huh.
So what we'll do is we'll run a line down the Gore Road to the Macy property and supply water to the
Yeah.
buildings that we want to do there.
And good water, good quality
Yes.
water?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
fully tested
Huh.
every quarter, and we have been having the results since the well got put in, so,
Oh.
yeah, we're pretty confident that that's,
So that sounds pretty solid.
yes.
And speaking of that neck of the woods, the field days comes to mind. I guess you had a meeting last week, and again, Franklin County Field Days folks have been looking for quite a while now for a new site, of course, for field days with their days or years numbered at the site by the airport. And there's
Yes.
a potential site off Gore Road.
They have been looking everywhere in Franklin
Yeah.
County.
Apparently without a lot of success, or?
No, I know that they had found a piece of property in Franklin that they really
Yeah.
wanted to move to, but
Oh, really?
Franklin's select board had told them they were not interested in having them in town.
Oh, really? Why were they not interested? Do you know? Do you remember hearing?
The only rumor I heard was because they didn't want them on their roads.
Oh, really?
So I'm not exactly sure what
Yeah.
happened there, but
Yeah.
Highgate is interested in having them stay in Highgate if
Yeah.
we could find, a good place for them.
Yeah.
They had suggested that they might be interested in what the town calls the Cassidy property,
Huh.
which is in the estate of Dick Cassidy. And Dick was very heavy into the field days, and
Great guy. I've got tremendous
Yes.
memories. A long time town moderator, of course.
correct, yes.
School board member.
So
Great guy.
the thought was that
Huh.
maybe the family would be interested in,
Huh. And this is land in the Cassidy estate, you said? or-
Correct.
Oh, interesting. How
So-
big a parcel, Sharon?
I believe it's 32 acres,
Huh.
which is less than they have now, but they...
Is that right? That's less than they have now?
Yes.
Huh.
They had called Velco, which is the Vermont Electric Company that owns the property next to that,
Yeah.
and asked if they thought they would give them parking for the 4 days of the year
Yeah.
for field days. And they had gotten a verbal confirmation that they thought that that would be okay.
Huh.
So that would give them another basically 30 acres
Huh.
to park on.
Yeah.
The quote was that they had over 18,000 visitors last summer.
Wow.
So it's a lot of people.
Sure.
And you need
A lot of
somewhere to put
people.
them.
Yeah.
When we had the information meeting last Thursday, the select board just wanted people to know that this was an option that they were considering. The select board really didn't have an opinion one way or the other, and they
Huh.
didn't feel that it was their authority to do so.
Yeah. No, we're interested just what people had to say.
Right. Those people that spoke up were concerned about noise, about the hours. The tractor poles and sometimes the pickup poles run early into the next morning.
Yeah.
So people with small children were concerned that it would be too much noise,
Yeah.
children couldn't sleep, too much activity.
Huh.
Some were worried about it would be too much extra traffic for our village,
Yeah.
and some were worried about how much damage the rail trail would get because it's not that far off the rail trail, and they're concerned that people would be riding their ATVs to the fair.
Yeah,
All legitimate concerns.
yeah,
It was suggested that maybe to cut the hours, and perhaps extend the days of the field days, or maybe put more activities on Sundays before they pack up,
yeah,
so that you didn't have these loud events after 10 o'clock, say.
yeah.
And I think that that concession may help some people.
So again, this is no decision, of course, or anything?
No, the field days has not made a decision. That committee is, I think, was a little disheartened on Thursday.
Yeah,
But I think too that a lot of the people that are in favor of it
yeah,
were not necessarily afraid, but nervous about speaking up when you had several that were anti-field days.
yeah,
But all of the selectmen and myself have heard it's about a 50-50 split. 50% would love to have it there.
yeah,
50% are not interested in having it there.
yeah.
Whether they could make concessions and get more people on the A,
Huh.
I think that's up to the Field Days Committee, but
So what's the next step from Highgate's point of view with this particular site? Will there be nothing more planned right now?
no, that's completely an arrangement between the Field Days Council and the estate of Mr. Cassidy.
Yeah. Huh.
It's a private land sale, so the town has no
Right.
need to basically stick our nose in it.
For the field days to move to that site, that would need formal approval from the town, from the select board, or not? If they just wanted this land and said, hey, this is our best place for a new field days, this is what we're gonna do, we're gonna buy the land, can they, I mean, I guess there's some permits, but could they do that without official town approval?
I think they would be better off
You
to
think?
get that approval.
Right, whether they need it or not.
Correct. But they would need to have permitting, like you said.
Yeah,
They would have to do a change of use for the land, because half of that parcel is listed as village use
huh,
and half is agricultural use, so they'd have to do that through the town. But yes, I think it's basically a private land sale, and for 4 days of the year that they should ask the town.
You
For-
think that
for an
might make
approval.
some intro? Did they mention a potential, just the price tag of a new field days? Did they mention a potential price tag for, I mean, buying the land and putting up whatever buildings they want? That's got to be obviously in the millions of dollars here, isn't it?
I was told offhand, and I do not know if this is true or not,
Yeah.
that they were looking at 500,000.
No, 500,000. That's probably a better
But
number than
that was just land purchase.
that's just land purchase.
Yeah, and I know that they had talked about the first year, maybe two, that there would be a lot more tents than there would be actual
Right.
buildings,
Yeah.
just because of finances.
So the current site seems solid. Sounds like one more year, at
Yes.
least, this, I guess, early August for what you keep hearing the last field days. But is there maybe some wiggle room? Is that not entirely clear?
I think that there are members of the Franklin County Field Days
Yeah.
that would like to question the state more
Yeah, I bet.
about, are you really certain that this has to happen?
Yeah,
If you're going to develop it and you have an actual buyer,
yeah,
fine, we'll move. But if you're doing this just as a preemptive move,
yeah,
could you do a lease for us once a year?
yeah. Just go year to year.
Right.
What, has the state made clear the land where the field day site is? Are they saying just some potential companies or industry there? Does the state Have they said what they would like that land for even?
Not to the town,
Not
and
to
I
the town.
don't think to the field days.
Okay, because we're talking, industrial park there to some extent, but that's not on that, that's elsewhere by the property, elsewhere by the airport?
Right. It's the
Even
site.
on the other side, on the west side, or?
No,
No?
it's basically in the position of the old airport land and fill
Okay,
sand pit,
okay.
which was basically directly on the other side of the road, directly from the airport building. So there was some talk of a land swap between Harrison and the airport, but that has stalled to some degree. So we're kind of waiting to see what happens there.
Right, and Jim Harrison, kind of the key guy with,
Yes, he has been pretty much the private developer for that part of the project.
and speaking of that big project, that's moving, again, the extension of water and sewer lines from MVU, well, that'll, I guess the hope was it would have happened before now, but is that pretty solid for this summer now? I know they ran
No.
into some issues, it's not solid, huh?
They have started doing their scoping and checking their lines and where they need to go, but they don't expect construction to start until September.
Oh, until September.
Yeah.
How long a time frame is that, do you know?
They probably won't be finished until next,
Really?
so 12/25 probably.
Really? So they've run into some delays with that for whatever reason, huh?
Yeah, we've run into some delays because of the funding. The Economic Development Administration has required the town and the engineer to jump through a series of hoops to get approvals. I'm sure that it's commonplace, but it did delay the project 6 months, so we pretty much lost this full construction season.
Wow. But still moving ahead, this project is
yes.
still a go.
Yes, we received 6 bids on May 3rd, opened them. We have contracted with ECI, Engineers Construction, Inc., who are already doing the airport expansion project on the property. So that was a good fit.
And that's already happened. They've done some work, and they
Yes.
they widened the runway? I'm not sure they extended it, but widened it at least?
Yes, they've widened it and...
Are they not extending it also?
Oh, no, this year they're extending it.
Okay.
So right now they're working at the site to extend the airport.
So we're not seeing no plane traffic these days? Is it?
The airport is supposed to be shut down in the middle of June, I think until the middle of August. So it'll be shut down for 2 months.
Couple months.
Yeah,
So that's been ongoing work.
yes. Yeah, that's all federal dollars.
But again, we mentioned Jim Harrison, the private developer. He's obviously needs water and sewer lines extended
Yes.
before he can move on anything.
Yeah, he is, I'm told, in his final Act 250 permitting process. So Act 250 takes a while, so he's been at it for a little while and is nearing the end, hopefully.
But this project, definite go. This is still looking as solid as it was before.
Yes.
Yeah, just taking longer.
Yes.
Imagine that, huh?
Yeah. Government moves at the pace of snail.
You must have a real good feel, probably a much better feel than you'd like to have, just about bureaucracy and stuff. Boy, got to be very, very frustrating.
It's a lot of hoops and it's a lot of personalities.
Yeah,
It's sometimes amazing.
yeah. I bet. Boy, you could probably talk for hours about that. But that project's still looking very solid.
Yes, it looks very solid. Our bids came in within our estimates. So that project is fully funded.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
we are very fortunate there.
Well, boy, we haven't talked so much in the past, but boy, the stream bank stabilization issue, another very big issue, and I'm not sure I realized how. Messenger had a story on that a little while ago. Not sure I knew just how expensive that was, but again, especially the land behind the transfer station along the Missisquoi and along part of Macy Road.
Yes.
But we're talking a few $1 million here dealing with this, huh?
Oh, yes.
Jeez.
More than a few, unfortunately.
Really?
It,
This goes back how many years? When did this start happening, Sharon? I mean, quite a while ago, or?
I think the Macy Road has
Yeah.
probably been happening for hundreds of years.
Yeah, so just a long process.
The transfer station has been in the last 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
So the transfer station, the town is responsible for protecting the site because we have a closed landfill on the site.
Right. Yeah, you had a landfill for many years ago.
Yes. So basically that landfill is built on a sandbank. And as climate change comes through and we have these huge weather events where we get tons and tons of rain,
Yeah.
sand gets washed away.
Oh,
And that has happened to a huge degree at the transfer station. And
Wow.
we've spent the last basically 15 years trying to get FEMA to give us help because we knew this was going to be a multi-million-dollar project.
yeah.
The site we have a contractor in there, Wright's Excavating, who are doing a great job.
Yeah.
But it is shocking
Wow.
how deep that bank is and how steep it is. We had some real concerns about getting equipment in there safely and the
Really?
safety of the workers.
Wow.
It is just almost a sheer drop.
Wow.
And
I should check that out. I'm just not. I should give a look at that at some point.
I can send you the photographs that I take.
Yeah.
It's just, they have 4 huge excavators down in this
Wow.
hole, and they look like Tonka toys.
Wow.
It's just
Jeez.
amazing.
Huh. You're getting mostly outside money dealing with this. Fortunately, I mean, good luck if
Yes.
Highgate. I mean, good luck if you have to pick up all this cost.
So we have set aside some money in our capital improvement
Yeah.
plan because we knew that there were going to be some matches to these grants.
Yeah.
FEMA has finally come through after 15 years and many hoops.
Oh, is that right? You finally got
yes.
some FEMA money.
Yes. And actually that money was leftover money from Irene,
Oh, really?
Hurricane Irene.
Huh.
So we're putting it to good use. We're trying to protect that landfill from falling into the stream,
Wow.
then going into the Missisquoi River.
Wow.
But it's a huge project. I mean, there are huge landslides and bank erosion in that property. And these 2 that we're fixing now happen to be right side by side.
Is that right? Side by side.
Yeah.
So what are they trying to do? How are they trying to stabilize this?
So it's engineered basically from the bottom up.
Huh.
And it's building bases of different types of rock and different types of sand in order to allow the water to filter down through to the brook level as opposed to trying to get it to go halfway down like the groundwater does now and try to exit out the middle of the bank and then just keep washing it away.
Yeah.
This tries to give it a more natural flow right down to the level at which it can empty out without damaging anything.
Wow. So it sounds like we're talking ongoing work here for who knows how long?
The original estimate was 5 months of construction.
Yeah.
I would expect it's going to take longer.
Really?
I think that the project was just massive.
Huh.
Just massive.
And you said right almost next door off Macy Road, there's another similar situation?
So Macy Road has a couple of aspects. The biggest one being that rivers move. Rivers are alive and they move through nature and will erode as they see fit.
And that's happened in that area.
That has happened. That's
Oh.
happened several times already that we've
Huh.
fixed once. We just had a FEMA home buyout last year,
Oh,
which
really?
a mobile home was in severe
Wow.
threatening position that it was going to fall into the river.
Of course, people see stuff like that from California all the time, so you had a similar issue. Huh?
It's a lot closer than they think.
Wow.
We have been watching the bank very closely. We have a home, and a very nice home that's possibly in its path right now, but the road
Wow.
is certainly in danger.
Really? And how much of it, I mean,
About 3/4 of a mile.
is that right?
So we had been working with an engineer on a fix for the closest erosion to the road in front of this woman's house, and they had a hard time finding a repair that would meet the safety factor that the state wanted to have. Nobody wants to put millions of dollars into a fix and then
Sure.
have it fail.
Yeah.
So part of their repair is 2 rows of concrete nails.
Huh.
And what they mean by that is putting piping in and under the ground at basically an angle to try to secure that bank in place.
Huh.
They fill the piping with concrete and hope that this will help stabilize it, and then they build from the bottom up, again with large rock, little rock, and then soils.
Huh.
But part of the problem also with the Macy Road is groundwater and surface water, as well as the river moving at the bottom.
Hmm.
So you have erosion at the bottom from the river,
Yeah.
and you have groundwater that seeps 25 feet deep through sand, hits a layer of clay, and then it has no place to go because the clay won't absorb it, and it just goes whoosh,
Wow.
and it falls in on the bank.
Wow.
And it takes all the vegetation and trees with it.
Wow.
You can see it in the roadway because it'll leave cracks where the roadway is starting to collapse.
Wow.
So
The road at this point is open. It's open right now.
yes, the road is safe at the moment. And like I say, we check it regularly.
I bet.
But when we thought it was only in that one spot, which is basically 1,200 feet,
Yeah.
excuse me, it's not. If you walk down the side of the road further,
Yeah.
it's undermining about 3/4 of the mile of the road.
Wow.
It is
Wow.
going under people's sheds.
Wow.
It is going under tree roots and basically washing it all away,
Wow.
waiting for the trees to fall.
And about how many houses are in that section of roadway, roughly? We were talking a bunch of houses, I assume.
There are roughly 7 homes
So seven.
in that area.
Wow.
So what the town has done is we had applied for a brick grant from FEMA, which allows us to do a long-term study of the geology of the area and find out what our options are.
Yeah.
We can't keep putting $3 or $4 million into,
Yeah.
300, 1,000 feet of roadway
Yeah.
to watch the next storm take out the next section next to it.
And again, so far, one home was bought, or just one home?
One home was bought and destroyed, and
No.
so that the river could do what it needed to do.
Wow. Are these homes, are they all on the river side of the road, or?
No, they are on the opposite side of the
Really,
road.
on the opposite side?
Yeah. This home, the FEMA home buyout was on the riverside,
Okay.
but the slide was right up to the tongue of the trailer.
Oh,
So, I mean, it was in imminent danger.
wow. Other towns, other towns in Franklin County running into similar issues? It sounds like Highgate's got the worst of this, but
Yeah, I think it's a combination of soils, that sand on top of clay. And not that I know a lot about river science, but I have been learning as I go along.
I bet.
Our section has 2 pinch points on the river. We have the Sheldon Pulp Mill, so that's a point that's pinched as far as water flow. And we have the dam in Highgate Falls.
Right.
And according to what I've read, it seems that when you have those pinch points and you don't allow the river to make its own
Flow naturally, yeah.
yes, it causes a massive amount of bank stabilization and erosion.
Oh, really?
And that is exactly the case. If you follow the river up through, you can see spots where there have been hundreds of tons of soils that have been deposited into the river.
Really? Wow.
It basically has, the river has changed course because of some of these slides.
Wow. Boy, it's like that's quite the issue.
It is. We put out a request for qualifications for somebody to help us with this long-term study. That has been just awarded to Geodesign. So they'll do a lot of intensive testing and try to give the select board an idea of what the best option is, whether it's to repair the bank or to actually close the road or move the road.
Is that, have you got potential to do that, so moving the road?
If we move the road, we would have to do some home buyouts and some land
you said you got
buyouts.
the 7 homes that are just right on the road crossing the river side.
Yeah,
Boy, that's like a big ongoing issue for you, huh?
it is, yeah. Highgate's beautiful with its Missisquoi River, but it
Yeah.
also provides some potential danger.
Yeah.
So, as part of that, we're changing our zoning bylaws
Oh, yeah.
to include what they call river corridors,
Huh.
so that we don't allow people to build
Oh, yeah.
in places where it's dangerous, where we're trying to give the river as much expansion room as we can without harming the residents.
Yeah, sure sounds like that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, we have to try to do what we can.
Yeah. So meanwhile, July 1st, you've got Franklin County Sheriff's Department jumps into the fray, and St.
Yes.
Albans City PD, which will be taking over, of course, St. Albans Town on July 1st.
Yes.
How do you're looking forward to that? Sounds like you fared well
are.
early on with the city and not so well lately.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just staffing may be an issue or whatever.
Yeah. We are excited to go to Franklin County
Yeah.
Sheriff. We've heard some good comments from some of their officers.
Yeah.
We're excited to have expanded our coverage. We're going to go to 40 hours a week.
And what is it now, or what was it supposed to be anyway?
It was supposed to be 26 hours.
Yeah.
It's getting to be about 5 to 8.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it's
Obviously, you're at least saving some money. You're not paying for a service you're not getting, I hope?
Yeah, we're not paying for the service we're not getting,
Yeah.
but
Is that right? You're down to that little?
yeah,
Wow.
it's has not been.
Wow.
We're getting constant resident complaints, and
Really?
it just
Because that situation started pretty well. I remember talking to you before, and you seemed pretty happy early on with City
we
PD.
were very happy with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Huh.
their level of service just
Interesting.
has not been good.
So again, you're going to get 40 hours a week from the Sheriff's Department?
Yes.
Wow, that'll be a huge jump in coverage, obviously.
Yes. And our thought is that to try to control some of the drugs.
Yeah.
As we've witnessed already, when we started with St. Albans City, they were aggressive against some of these drug problems.
And I think they probably had their street crimes unit at that point, which I think they're planning to bring back.
And what happened is they drove them out of St. Albans,
Interesting.
but they went to Swanton.
Interesting.
Swanton is now getting aggressive
Yeah.
and pushing them out to Highgate.
And this is definitely happened. No doubt about this.
Yep.
Wow.
So we want to drive them somewhere else.
Yeah.
I mean,
Gee, what an issue.
drugs are a huge influx of money,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, as much as some individuals get money, the town and the residents pay a terrible price.
Sure. So this has become just obviously, anecdotally, whatever, just a much bigger problem in the just last couple of years or so, or?
It has become a bigger problem.
Yeah.
I understand there's an allure of money, but at what cost?
Yeah.
There are stores that are robbed every single day in the county.
Yeah, it seems like it, huh?
It's, you see on social media all the time, all these cars are getting broken into and people will steal anything.
Yeah.
There has to be a point where you say, okay, this cannot continue.
Yeah. And of course, Highgate, of course, a border town. You're also running into problems with folks just illegally coming across the border. Is that, you hear anecdotally, do you hear just people seeing people doing that, or?
We were seeing that a lot in the fall
Really?
and early spring, but that's,
Winter knocked it out anyway, seemingly?
well, it seems to have slowed down a little.
Yeah.
It's not, maybe it's not just as talked about, and
Yeah.
it's still happening, and we just don't
Yeah.
realize it.
Yeah.
But I think Customs did put on a lot of extra work and a lot of extra help to try to round up some of those or cause some conflict so that they could put an end to some of it.
Yeah.
But it's still a problem.
Yeah. Speaking of the border, I guess the Highgate Port of Entry is going to be getting a renovation. I'm not sure. In fact, I'll be going through there in a little bit.
Yeah.
But I guess that's going to be. I guess a lot of the port of entries are getting some bucks too.
Yeah.
Upgraded.
And Highgate really needed to be upgraded. They need to have more commercial lanes.
Yeah.
The Canadian government had just done a major upgrade to the highway on the other side.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just makes sense that you need to open up the border so that traffic can flow freely.
Yeah.
There's no need to have to sit at the border for hours
Yeah.
to get through. I mean, we have free trade, we have,
Yeah.
Customs has a hard job. I applaud them for it, but
Yeah.
it's, some things need to be better.
Yeah. I think you're getting some help from Lamoille Valley Rail Trail with the completion of that. Do you see some more activity on the LVRT, Sharon?
I live on the
I'm
LVRT.
sure you told
yes,
me that. You
and
live on
I'm very happy to say that there is a lot of
Yeah.
usage.
Yeah.
It's wonderful to see.
Huh.
Yep, a lot of bicycles, a lot of tourists,
Yeah.
a lot of walkers.
Huh.
I'm a dog walker on the
Yeah.
trail,
Oh,
so
see you right there. That's
yeah,
great.
yeah, no, it's they've done really well with that.
Of course, the good folks in Swanton at the western end of it were looking forward to a good celebration of that last summer when the rains came. And I haven't asked them. I wonder if their Governor Scott was going to come up and I think bike the whole thing. I think Bernie probably wouldn't have biked the whole thing, but Senator Sanders was going to
Right.
come up. I'd like to think they can resurrect that event because
Sure.
the flooding, of course, no, it sounds like a tremendous asset.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it has a real great potential. We're trying right now to raise funds to put in a trailhead
Oh, are you?
so that people have a place to
Huh.
stop, rest, use facilities.
Oh, that'd be great. Can
Yeah.
people, if people, I mean, can they park at the arena? Is that basically okay
Yes.
for, that'd be the thing to do, I guess, right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the arena stays busy? Arena's doing okay? A lot of stuff going on?
The arena is doing fabulous.
Yeah.
Our new director, Jess Bombard, has done a great job
Huh.
reaching out to a lot of adults and children. Great programming. Their open skates saw a tremendous increase in popularity.
I caught a couple days and I was struck by how, usually when I skate at Collins Pearly, I'm sometimes solo for their public skating. Yeah, Highgate was a pretty good crowd.
Yeah, they were up to 200 people
Really?
some days.
Wow.
They are looking at doing some renovations in the lobby this year next.
Great snack bar. Hope nothing happens to that great snack bar.
Yes. A lot of people say that.
Yeah.
But yes, the rec committee there is doing an awesome job helping Jess, and we have a new buildings and grounds person. So yeah, we're very happy with the work they're doing.
Right. We're under 2 minutes. Anything, you've covered a lot of ground. Anything you want to quickly talk about that we haven't talked about?
Well, I would say that it's National Public Works Week. So
Oh, wow.
just a shout out to our Public Works.
Oh,
They're doing an awesome job, and nice to have a full staff. And
were you short staffed for a while? You're back
we
to a full
were,
staff?
yes. Yep.
Yeah. What is your staff for Public Works in Highgate?
We have 3. We have a director and 2 employees.
3 full-time folks?
Yes. Yep.
Um,
And they have
I'm
a
sure they
schedule
keep
where
busy.
they can take turns being on call, so that
Yeah.
if there's an emergency, there's somebody to answer the call.
Yeah. Any paving? Have we got some paving going on this
We
summer?
just did paving. Yes, just finished with
Oh, really?
Pike. Yep.
Yeah.
So
So, any other summer projects? It sounds like you got a ton of stuff going on. Anything just kind of summer projects? Still some music once in a while?
yes, there'll be 4 concerts at the arena.
Yeah, great.
We're getting a new stage, so that'll help, hopefully, and we're hoping to have a nice Memorial Day parade coming up.
No, that's not far away at all. Yeah, in
Yes.
fact, Highgate takes Memorial Day very seriously.
Yes, that is our one parade,
That's your big-
one
that's your big
celebration. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry. Final word, Sharon?
Come join us for Memorial Day.
Yeah.
We have a lovely chicken barbecue that the fire department
Right.
puts on, and should be a good time.
Yeah, no, that's good. Good word. Thanks for mentioning that. Okay, that's going to do it. Again, you covered a lot of ground, boy, a lot of stuff going on in Highgate. Good luck with
Yes.
everything. Thanks to Sharon Bosquet, the Highgate Town Administrator. I think my main guy producing today, our Exec Director, Paul Snyder. I think I saw Alan and Josh out there too, but thanks to Paul. And thanks for watching us here on Northwest Access TV. We appreciate it. I'm Richard Cowperthwait. See you next time.